The strongman applied austerity measures on a country whose growth was a two-figure one. Despite its development and diversity, poverty affects most of the population with a 60% unemployment rate estimate. Meles Zenawi's reign was criticized for its lack of democracy. The 2005 elections were marred in bloodshed as 200 people died in post-election violence. And in 2010, despite a multi-party system, the presidential party took 99% of the vote. Opponents, activists and journalists are not allowed to express themselves outside the country. The death of Meles Zenawi puts Ethiopia and its neighboring regions in a period of uncertainty.
The U.S. president has called for the immediate departure of Bashar al-Assad, saying the embattled president has lost all legitimacy to rule Syria. President Obama made the remark during an impromptu press briefing on the crisis in Syria. And as we hear in this CFI report, President Obama has threatened military intervention in the Assad regime, continues using chemical weapons.
In an impromptu press conference at the White House on Tuesday, U.S. President Barack Obama reaffirmed his position on Syria. He called for the immediate departure of Bashar al-Assad, whom he said has already lost all legitimacy during the 17-month conflict with opposition forces.
We have been very clear to the Assad regime, but also to other players on the ground, that a red line for us is we start seeing a whole bunch of chemical weapons moving around or being utilized. That would change my calculus. That would change my equation. All right?
For the first time, the United States is not afraid to resort to a military intervention in Syria. The American president had already threatened Syria back in July with sanctions should it resort to chemical weapons during this conflict. On the ground, the fighting is relentless. In Aleppo, rebels are trying hard to fight back against a well-equipped Syrian army. The heavy artillery has caused much destruction. Just a few kilometers away lies the city of Azaz, which has once again been subjected to air raids.
Churches and mosques have been attacked. Even women and children have been abused by a heartless regime.
In Azaz, just like elsewhere in Syria, the residents are fleeing to Turkey. According to the United Nations, they already number at 70,000. The Turkish government has asked that a buffer zone be created to accommodate the growing number of refugees. But to set up camps on the Syrian side would mean creating a no-fly zone. It's a task that has already divided opinions among the UN Security Council.
We'll be back momentarily after this break.
On GRTS. From hard news.
I want to direct this question to the FAO.
The Human Interest Weekend Spectrum is the program that spices up your weekend with news, breaking events in and outside the Gambia.
Meet the people who inspire others to think and change the world.
These culminated experiences were able to show anybody in New York that I'm somebody who's tough and I'm able to survive and carry out the work that I'm given. So it was a process, a tough one, but all in all, as I said, with the grace of Allah and with the support of parents and with the confidence of coming from a small country like Gambia and having a lot to prove.
Focus should be in strengthening families to ensure that they keep their children and also vulnerable families.
At this time on GRTS.
Welcome back. It's time now for the weather report, courtesy of the Central Forecast Office.
The source assures us of a continuous flow, and from there, everything follows. And for those of us who know what the River Gambia stands for, understanding its sustainability in all aspects of life is easily confirmed. The River Gambia provides nutritious delicacies as food, while it provides its wildlife a balanced ecosystem. This river, as a sanctuary, is committed to its inhabitants' needs without season. And as you travel along, all these values are replicated in one company, Elton. Just like the River Gambia, leads in its commitment to values that matter most. Elton, championing the vision for a new generation.
Good evening, and once again, it's a warm welcome to the weather news, beginning with a summary of the weather during the day today, followed by the forecast. The Gambia was characterized by a humid and cloudy atmosphere during the day today. For what will follow, let's start with a look at the satellite image captured at 16:30 hours, indicating the presence of deep convective clouds stretching across the western part of the continent to the central and eastern part of Africa. The north and the southern sectors were generally dry and stable during the period. For our forecast tonight, we are expecting conditions to be variably cloudy across the Gambia, with chances of rain showers and thundery activities across the country. Day tomorrow will start with variably cloudy conditions, but rain showers and thundery activities are very likely during the day. A light to moderate southwesterly breeze will continue to dominate the flow across the country, and the morning temperature values will be mainly 24 degrees Celsius across the country. Top temperatures will be 29 degrees Celsius over Banjul and Yindum. We are expecting 30 degrees Celsius over Kerawan, Sibano, and Jinoy. The rest of the country will also be 29 or 30 degrees Celsius tomorrow afternoon. We are expecting low tides of 0.26 meters at 25 minutes to 7 o'clock in the morning and 0.24 meters at 4 minutes past 7 o'clock in the evening. High tides will be 1.66 meters at 29 minutes past 12 a.m. and 1.72 meters at 1:45 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun will rise at 10 minutes to 7 o'clock and will set at 26 minutes past 1900 hours. We thank you and wish you a very peaceful night.
And before we go, a reminder of our headlines. 27 prospective Gambian students have received scholarships to pursue graduate and undergraduate programs in Taiwan. Heavy rains and strong winds have damaged houses in the west coast village of Madiana. Ethiopian Prime Minister Meles Zenawi has succumbed to an undisclosed infection after leading his country for 20 years. And President Obama is threatening to use force against the Bashar al-Assad government if the regime continues to use chemical weapons. You can monitor GRTS Radio live on our website at www.grts.gm. That brings us to the end of the news. Thanks for the pleasure of your company. Stay tuned and enjoy GRTS.
I do not want to have development and it's not sustainable. And the only way you can have development is for there to be peace and security. And the only way you can sustain what has been developed so far and make it useful to the people also is ensuring peace and security.
It is a tournament that captures millions of viewers around the world. It is the most prestigious club competition in European and world football. This is the European Champions League starting September 18, 2012. Sponsors invited.
mën nga ca win lu ne